Welcome to Drawing with Vince Mancuso. Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the eye and some of the just key simple points that we need to be aware of to make our eyes look believable and always give them the right feel. So the first thing is to be conscious of is the fact that the eye is a spherical form. Okay, it's a spherical form that's tucked into the eye openings. Okay, or the canopy. It has an iris at its front and a pupil. This is a form that sits on top. So if we were to look at this from a profile view, it kind of has this kind of quality. It's like a little bump, okay? And you've got the pupil in here, and then the iris, and so on and so forth. The other thing to remember about the eyes is that they work together as a unit. Okay, they move together. So it's almost like as if they're on a yoke. Like the way that two oxen would be directed by the driver to move together in the same direction. So for example, like if the eyeball does this, if one of the eyeballs moves in this upward direction, the other one responds equally or the same. Okay, they move in unison. Then once the eyeball is dropped into the eye socket, there's muscle tissue and ultimately skin, right? That basically kind of goes over, right, the eye, like this kind of an effect. Okay, so that this skin area here, is basically has this opening that allows the eyeball to be exposed to the light and to the world so that it can see. Okay, so this covering of skin covers the eye in a particular way, which I'm about to show you. If we look at the eyeball from a profile view, right, or slightly 3/4 view, let's say something like this. Okay, basically what happens is this. The majority of the eyeball is covered by the upper lid. Okay, so think of this like as if it was a grape and we would just cut just a top layer of skin and peel it back. It basically does something like this, and it covers the top of the iris. Okay, comes around, and the bottom lid covers much less, right, at the base, right? Much less, right? Something like this. Okay, big difference when we look at the surface area of the eyeball, right? The upper lid covers most of the eyeball. Okay, and I would say almost in total, I'm probably 5/8 of the surface, is covered by the upper lid, and only 1 or 2/8 is covered by the bottom lid. Much less. Okay, so that on a profile view, when we look at this, right, the eye kind of has this kind of setup like that. And there we go, like that. And you can see that there's a sort of an inward slope, right? That as we go up to the top of the eye, it moves away from the face, right? And when we go down to the bottom eye, it moves into the face. Now, the frontal overall shape often is confused like this. Most people will think of the eye as being like a symmetrical football, so that the peak curves happen equally or reciprocally, right? Like this. Right? That is not correct. Right? This is definitely a no-no. Right? What you want to look at is this kind of idea. If you divide this, and what do you get? I want to get like that, like that. All right, so we got basically 3/3. And so then what happens to the pattern of the eye is something like this. It inclines and the curve peaks, right, on the inside of the eye, on the top. Okay? Top, inside, high point. Right? And then outside, bottom of the eye, peaks on the outside, on the bottom. Okay? Sort of apex of curve. And now you get that's the shape of your eye right there. Okay? It's slanted, right? You get this kind of a trajectory. Right? Not this way, straight, vertical. When you're drawing an eye, from a frontal view, okay, so you've got this, right? High on the inside, high on low on the outside. You've got a tear duct, right, which allows moisture and water to come out. Okay, you've got more upper lid area, less bottom lid area. And one of the key things to remember is that the upper lid is always casting a shadow onto the eyeball. Okay? And then the eye is at the top covered, and at the bottom you just see a little bit of the white of the eyeball type of thing. Okay? Then we get a cast shadow underneath the bottom lid because of the natural position. Okay? This is here the inside of the nose, like so. The eyebrow at the top of the bridge has a slanted hair. Okay? It slants from the inside out till it gets to the peak of the bridge, and then here, as it starts to turn down to the side, it turns downward like that. Okay? The eye is always affected by cast shadows and darkness because they're covered by the bridge of the eye. So this is something that's very important to be conscious of, right? All of the downward planes, right, are getting shadows. The ledge, let's get that a little smaller. The ledge here is always wet, okay, moist, right? And the eye always has moisture. So it means it's a highly reflective surface and it is prone to highlights, right? Same thing as the surface of the eye, right? It is prone to highlights, right? When it's getting hit directly by light. When you're drawing eyelashes, your eyelashes do this kind of a thing. They come from under the upper lid and they come outward, right? To the side of the body, outward, okay? And they come out of the shadows. On the bottom lid, they actually attach to this outer edge here, okay? And so they appear to come. They connect to this outer edge. They come out, and they're shorter, okay, and more spread apart, like that. Okay, that's your eye. That's your eye from the frontal position. And that's it. It's a spherical form. The opening is not an ellipse. It's a skin that's kind of been sliced over, folded over, has a kind of pinched corners like a football, right? The majority of the upper lid, the skin of the upper lid basically covers the majority of the eyeball. The bottom lid covers much less, okay? The eyes, they move in tandem. And remember that the apexes of the curves, right, are slanted. So on the inside, you get a high curve. And on the outside, on the bottom of the eye, you get a high curve, okay? It's not symmetrical, right? This is definitely the way to look at it, right? It is not symmetrical like a football. The eyes are spaced, basically one eye apart, kind of scenario, right? And this kind of aligns with the bridge of the nose here, right? Because at the base of the nose is basically an eyeball in distance, right? And there you have the eye.